Hello and welcome. This is part 2 of my 80s series. I was much more fortunate than my mother's generation in that I could purchase a house at age 23 being a single person on my own without anyone else having to co-sign or anything. It was great freedom. These were things that my mother never would have been able to do. She would not have been able just to go out and do something on her own. Her husband would have to co-sign or he would have to be the one to get the loan. And this even happened once with my mother when she got older and I was able to understand a lot more things. She had to have a hysterectomy, but my dad had to sign those papers. He had to agree to let her have this hysterectomy, even though there was lots of things going on with her. I don't want to get too specific, but she did need it. And these are some of the things that were going on during the 80s, coming from a person who actually lived it. I don't know, maybe it was a good time, maybe it was a bad. There were pros and cons. There were a lot of substances that were being ingested by a lot of people. So for that, it maybe wasn't so good. I know in my last video, I said a lot of things that were kind of cute, things about the 80s that were fun or adorable. This video is not quite that. This one is a little more down-to-earth kind of negative experiences here that I went through. While I was going to school, I didn't have to wear a uniform or any specific clothing, or there just was no dress code or anything like that, unlike in my mother's generation. She had to wear a skirt, even in the winter and freeze. She could wear pants to school, but she had to take them off and wear a skirt all winter. And every morning, all of the girls had to go into the gymnasium. They had to kneel down. The bottom of the hem of their skirt had to touch the gymnasium floor. If they didn't, they were sent home. Goodbye, you go get yourself changed and then come back. So that was quite a difference for my generation growing up in the late 70s, going in junior high and high school, then graduating in the mid-80s. In junior high, I remember that it was still a policy that if you were a girl, you had to take home ec. It was required. If you were a boy, you had to take shop. It was required also. You could take either one if you were wanting to take it as an elective. So you had to have a couple extra credits in there, but you could take it. That was voluntary. However, that did not absolve you from taking the course that was specific to your gender. Also, every year we did the presidential fitness test. Did you see how athletic or physically fit you were? And they were different for the boys and the girls. So the boys had to do chin-ups. The girls just had to come up once and hang on the bar. Just stay up there for a number of seconds. I don't remember how many. But the boys had to do 1 or 2 chin-ups minimum. The girls just had to hang up there for like 15 seconds maybe or something like that. Also, there was a rope climb, and that was for the boys. They had to climb it up halfway. They had to go at the minimum and then back down again. For girls, we just had to hang on to the rope, basically just clung to it with our legs wrapped around it in our arms. One day, we were all gathered together, and I was like, I wonder how hard it is to climb that rope. The girls were saying the same thing, like, I don't know, is it really hard? So we decided to test this little thing out. Let's see how hard it is. And I'll be danged if quite a few of us just started climbing up the rope. That is until the PE teacher saw it. He did not like that. You girls come down. Oh, well, look, we just climbed the rope. Come down. And that really bothered me because we were never told that, well, maybe girls can climb a rope. We don't know. We're just hang on the rope. That's it. Also with the chin-ups versus just hanging on the bar, when we were doing that, I remember we already pulled ourselves up once, right, to hang with our chin just above the bar there. You just had to freeze. And so we knew that we could get up there kind of once, right? We did that. But I wondered, well, can I get down and back up again and down like an actual chin-up? Tried to do it. I freaked myself out because it turns out I could do it and did do it. It was almost the same as the rope contest. And so some of them came up and they were elated to find out I could do a chin-up. I could do like 3 or 4, but I just remember coming down and jumping down on my feet and just going, oh my God, did I just do a chin-up? We're not supposed to be able to do that. This is impossible. No, what I just did was something that was physically impossible for girls to do. This is how low the freaking bar was set for us. We had no idea. And that's why we continue to kind of test ourselves if we could do something during this presidential test, I guess you would call it. When I was 9 years old, we moved from a town out into a rinky-dink little, just a village. It's hardly a town. Technically it was. It was on the map. I got asked to see about playing softball. And I'm like, well, I never played it. Okay, I could try it. And I found out I really liked it. I was on that team for quite a few years, and a bunch of us girls all got together. And one day we were really curious about the baseball because we had a town team of all girls playing softball. But there was a team of all boys playing baseball. Girls did not play baseball, boys did not play softball. And we wondered about this baseball thing, like what's so unique about it that's so difficult that we can't use it, that we can't possibly master this. We can't be good enough or strong enough to do it. I didn't know. The only difference really between a baseball and a softball is that there's more coating around the softball. So it basically is a baseball, but with more coating. It's a little bigger, maybe the size of grapefruit, a little smaller than that, and a baseball size of a small apple. We asked our coach one day if we could please try a baseball. And her eyes got big, and she's shaking her head, no, we're going to play with softball. But we just wanted to try a baseball, we said. We just wanted to see if we could hit it, if we could catch it, or whatever is so different about it. And she said, no, we're not allowed to do that. This is practice. Can we just toss a baseball? No, because you won't be able to ever play baseball. That was the end of that. So no matter how hard we begged and were curious, we just weren't allowed to touch that freaking baseball. This is comparable from the 70s, transitioning into the 80s, and the amount that it had changed to where we had some girls' sports by the time I was graduating. By the time I was in junior high and graduating, there weren't very many, but there were some. This is better than what my mom would have had, which was no sports in her generation. And since I graduated, more and more sports have been added onto the roster for women to partake in if they would like to. This has been a refreshing journey to gaining more and more for women and girls. Right now, we're in danger of losing some of these things that we have gained for sports, but that's a story for another day. One of the worst things about the latter part of my high school years was when HIV came on the scene. Also, HIV became prominent during that time. Lots of women were getting it and dying from it. Also, they were pregnant at the time and were transmitting it to their unborn children. Their babies were then born with the HIV virus. And it was not pretty. Those children only had about 13 years of life in them at that time. It was very, very sad. But they did work on getting better medicines, try to prevent the mother from transmitting it to the babies. So that was step one. And then the regular medications that are out now can really prolong your life. These are some of the things that I observed and lived in the 80s as a person myself who had gone through them. Thank you for listening. I'll have more stories next time. If you want to leave a comment, that's great. Take care until next time.